Welcome, friends, to a new episode of Mind Speaks, Soul Listens. The views and opinions expressed by the speakers in this recording are solely based on their own individual perspectives and experiences. They form only part of the truth, and we strongly encourage listeners to form their own conclusion based on their own living experience. All right, so for today's podcast episode, we have Brother Mio, who is going to ask us questions regarding spirituality.
Okay, so thank you for inviting me to talk in this podcast, Sister Ne and Brother Takin. So oftentimes I hear this term ocean mode and drop mode being said, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
these are just metaphors, figure of speech. It comes from the poet Rumi, right, who said that you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. So, in the scientific sense, the ocean mode means being currently aware of the totality of consciousness as a human being and acting with that awareness, while the drop mode is operating as an individual but without that higher awareness. So, can I ask you what's the difference between this ocean mode and drop mode in this spiritual path?
Okay, I listen to many Ishwapuriji satsang, and in the satsang, he always say about the ocean and the drop, right? So this is the concept of how soul reincarnate in this karmic creation. So in the beginning, um, our master Ishwapuriji, he said about the existence of the ocean of love as God, right? And we as soul, as we separate ourselves from the ocean to have the experience as the drop. So we separate ourselves, separate the awareness from the totality of consciousness to narrow ourselves and to be in the small scale of awareness. So at that time, he compared as we separate ourselves as a drop in the ocean. And by doing that, we can become imperfect. And when we become imperfect, so we can take on the mind as the cover upon ourselves. We can take upon astral body as the cover on ourselves, and also this physical body. So that's why as long as we still operate in this karmic system, we will mainly operate as the drop, not the ocean. That's how God create variety of viewpoint. And this viewpoint make the creation function in a playful way. So when we practice when we practice on the spiritual path, Master always said to us that we have to raise our awareness from the drop to be the ocean. But this concept is so hard because we ourselves have to remove multiple layers of our self, to remove the layers of the physical, then the astral, and then causal, and then so on, to reach the awareness of totality of consciousness. So it's almost impossible that we can do it ourselves. That's why God sent down a perfect living master to be among us, to give us example and guidance that while we are in our drop mode as the character, we can raise our awareness to be aware as the ocean, as the totality of consciousness at the same time too.
So are spiritual masters or spiritual guides always in ocean mode, like 24/7, like every day, every time?
Yes, you can say like that because they are the ocean that operate within the drop. Because at all time they already raise their awareness to become total, meaning while they here in the separation in physical form just like us, they contain the awareness at every level at the same time. So that's what makes them special. But they always say to us that there's a hope that we can have the same awareness by studying about ourselves. The secret they say to us is that we have to know ourselves, know thyself. It's very important on this process of waking up from the drop to become an ocean.
I just want to add one thing. You mentioned Rumi. You quoted Rumi just now, but there was another saint that say a similar thing, but in a different manner. So this is a saying: all knows the drop merges into the ocean, but only a few knows that the ocean actually merges into the drop. This is from Kabir the Weaver. So I think the concept of the ocean merging into the drop uh, is almost the reverse of what we have been preconditioned to understand, which is we are actually just a small tiny drop in the ocean, right? But I think from a karmic perspective, that's true. But in reality, we are actually the ocean trying to be the drop. And we have made this character so real, we have become so good an actor that now we are trying to see it from the opposite point of view, which is we are the drop merging back into the ocean. But all the while, we have always been the ocean trying very hard to be the drop. I know this is kind of like very controversial in nature because people will say, what do you mean? I don't know anything. I don't see anything, right? But I think we have become so good actors that we have believed in our own illusion that we set upon. And I think Ishwaji mentioned it, beautifully in most of his satsang, that we are actually just, living an illusion, and we found it so real. We made everything so real that we now believe our own lie, and we are trying to unbelieve ourselves, which is kind of interesting, the way that he has panned out.
So you're trying to say that each one of us have God consciousness in us?
I think consciousness per se is quality of God, because I think without consciousness, we would not have the ability to, seek for that truth that we all have been longing for. Because I think I don't know who said this, but you wouldn't know what you want, right, unless you don't already have it. Because how can I give you something and then I say, okay, you have been searching all this while, here's the thing that you have always wanted, and how would you know that this is the thing that you have wanted when you don't already have it, you don't really recognize it, so I think it needs a bit of thought through, right? That yeah.
A lot of time I see that, to raise their awareness from the drop mode into the ocean mode, people just make it like a journey, like they have to raise their awareness up and up and up. Actually, when we fully operate in the ocean mode, we will also feel that no, it's here and now. We don't actually need to go anywhere, because within this human physical body, there's already capacity to raise awareness to the most high, meaning to become aware of our Creator Father, which is God, inside us fully. Animal cannot do this because they lack of element. And as human, we can exercise our free will. So this free will, by we using this wisely, we can raise above our limitation and become limitless. And when we become limitless, that's when we can know our true self, our true potential as the soul, that we actually, a unit of God, but being here in the creation to observe the creation, become eyes and ears of God, and witness His beautiful creation, and be among friends, Like it is very difficult to explain about God when we sit here, three of us talking, right? And how is possible that God manifests into each of us and talking at the same time? So how is possible, right? So when we use our mind talking, we cannot actually come to the full realization. That's why our master always say, go and see for yourself, have your own direct experience. So at that time, you will not have any more question. And recently, a brother just asked me about what it's like to have the awareness of the total. Are you in bliss, happiness, and love at all time? I say yes and no. Okay? Because I see a lot of spiritual practitioners, when they practice for a while, they become so positive, like overly positive, joy bursting with happiness, and they refuse to know any suffering. So if like that, I feel no, it's incomplete. Why? Because suffering or negativeness is also a quality of God. So within the awareness of the ocean or totality of consciousness, within there, we have to also exercise our negativity in constructive way as well. This is the quality of God. And the one who truly embraces the wisdom of the master will come to understand that they don't refuse suffering, they don't refuse happiness, they embrace all the experience with wisdom. They just become very acceptance and laid back, because they know full well it's the suffering of the character, it's the negativity of the mind that we carry right now. Okay, just like Ishwaji said to me one time, he held up a glass and he said, we just like the water within the glass. But if we believe that we are the glass, and at that time, then we don't know our true self, which is contained inside the glass as the water. So the mind is the same. The mind take form and shape and concept. It's make us ignorant from our true self. So Ishwaji always say to us that don't take things seriously. This is just like the play. We put on costume and participate the play on the stage. And when we get off from the stage, we put down the costume, and at that time we become our true self, which is the soul. So this is the true reality of true spiritual path, not the fake one.
Yeah, I think there's also a misconception about the nature of having ocean awareness. I think a lot of us imagine that like a perfect living master to have uh, all levels of awareness at his living self. It means that he practically knows everything that's going on. So how does a person like that even is able to live a human life?
It's true, master don't know anything because they still, as the human, they have to play and participate their human self, human character at best. Because if they raise their awareness, to know everything at all time, even in human self, they will lose the fun of being human. So therefore, they cannot be human fully. Okay, let's say if one day you wake up, you know that your wife was your enemy in the past. Your son killed you in 10 past lifetime back. Or you know that your neighbor cheat on you, right? And you know that your life is a lie. So how can you function as your human self at best in this character, right? And okay, this is I'm talking about, okay, if you wake up one day and you know all of your past life, that's one thing. And also if you wake up and you know all of your future time, what's gonna happen until you die, how can you function? How can you participate fully? You already know that's gonna happen. So you will also lose your human free will. You cannot exercise human free will also. So that's why even perfect living master, they live in this human physical level. They also have to obey the physical law. There's a rules that in a way human made to become ignorance of the future and also ignorance of past life. So that's how perfect living master are perfect, because they have to be perfect as human as well.
Mm-hmm. And this brings me to a new quote that I just came off my head. So masters know nothing, but yet they know everything.
So,
So yeah.
so how do we know that a master is talking to you in the ocean mode and not using their own drop mode? Wait, let me repeat that.
Okay.
How do we know that a master is talking to you in ocean mode and not their own drop mode as the human being? Yeah, it's not like when they are in ocean mode, their eyes lit up, so there has to be some kind of a
Telltale sign.
yeah, a sign.
You will never know unless you become the ocean mode fully, just like them. Then you know when they act human, and and then you will know when they are acting like God. You will know. It's very obvious, very obvious. Okay. When Ishwaji visit me in the UK in the year 2017, okay, he come with the cane, and when he get on the train, he said about, oh, his knee hurt, he has to go to dentist, blah blah blah. Then at that time I know, oh, master, you just play human, right? Because as the ocean, he won't complain, he won't even feel suffering or pain, but he just try to come to my level, to my human self level, so I can feel connect with him. And when I feel connect with him, then after that he showed me the awareness of the ocean when he talked about the experience that he had with his great master. So he said to me that ultimately there is only one dreamer, only one experiencer. He told me about the story of Baba Fakishan. Baba Fakishan, very famous to be unknowing saint, because he declared he is the only master who declared openly that he know nothing. But then his disciple saying that no, this man know everything, but he just want to say that as human self, he is in limitation just like us. But one of his disciples approached him, saying that, oh, Babaji, meaning Baba Fakishan, Babaji, I meditate a lot according to your instruction. I have experience of astral realms of awareness. I traverse all astral worlds, causal worlds, the soul level, and including the experience of Sachkhand, our true home. But the more I have the experience, I become more and more confused, because those experiences didn't give me the truth. I feel everything is illusion, including the experience of Sachkhand. Then Master Baba Fakishan said, yes, it's true. Now you are ready to know the truth. Because the truth is, there is only one experiencer who experiences everything. As long as we focus on the experiences, we never come to know the experiencer. So now, divert your attention to know your true self, not all the experiences. So, on the train, he said to me like this, and that's what I recognized that, wow, this man, this old man called Ishwapuriji, he knows something that I don't. Because at that time, he speak with authority of the ocean, of someone that have awareness of every level at the same time. But yet sometimes, he also be very playful with us, right? So, that's what happened. And when on the same day at the event, we happened to be late for the train, because going back to the train station, there is some traffic. So on the train platform, I run with Ishwaji. Imagine 90 years old man and carry the cane and walk very slow. But when he is in his full ocean mode, he just run with me, even faster than me. That's why I know all of master, they're very playful. They actually operate at every level at the same time, but sometimes they put on costume to connect with us, because they feel what is the point if they come and full have all power.
No, why not just work on that point? Most people, they view perfect living masters as the perfect being, but they fail to realize that masters are human first. They are as human as all of us. And we, I think, the human mind likes to put masters on a pedestal, and then this act of putting them on a pedestal will translate to you subconsciously worshipping them. And when you worship them, yes, I understand the devotion aspect of it, but when you start worshiping them, you start putting a barrier between you and the master. So it's like it's a form of separation. It's like you are not actually getting close to one another. You're actually pushing your way subconsciously further away from this being, because you, in your ignorant self, says that this one has something that I don't have, and therefore I need to really worship this one. But in true sense, what you should do is you should understand the enlightened one. And how you understand is you create a relationship with the enlightened one till you become as best friends, like best friends forever. Then you realize he and you are no difference. But when you reach that realization that he and you are no difference, you have artificially made yourself look at things from an ocean point of view. And then slowly and slowly you realize to discover your true nature, which is this being in front of you, which you once see as separate, like ignorant and enlightened, is actually you yourself. It's like a mirror, and then the mirror shatters and you realize, oh, you are actually me and I'm actually you, right? So I think this journey of bhakti or devotion, right, has to be tread carefully, in the sense that you do it so that you get closer to the master, not further away. Meaning you don't put him on a pedestal and he becomes like somebody to be revered and worshipped, because actually he came for you, to be close to you, not to be further away from you. And I think this, I think this has, me myself, I'm saying from experience, when I met Ishwaji, I always see him as the enlightened one. Like, man, this guy is like Renaissance man. He came and he delivered his satsang, and whenever you are at his discourses, right, you would never blink, or and sometimes you don't even hear what he speaks. You just want to stare at him and get full 100% grace from his eyes, right? And then but to me, I felt in this journey that I was actually putting a barrier to myself, because I didn't then understand who this character was till I go through the whole process and start learning more about him, his human self, and also discovering other people on this same journey and befriending these other people who are more enlightened than me. Only then did I realize we are all in this together and we are actually a mirror of each other. And that realization is actually the realization when you realize that the ocean is actually trying its hard to be the drop, and now it's reversing the process and discovering that the drop is actually the ocean all the while. So yeah, but then again, this is an experience that one has to go through. Unfortunately, as much as I can describe it, it will just mean nothing until you walk through this whole journey yourself. And
Yeah, that's why, apart from the element of perfect living master that you have to have in your life, you also need to have perfect living friends who can actually helping you and cross check with you and become like a mirror that you can check, about your own ego, about the awakening of your wisdom with them. So it is very useful that have friends who operate mostly in the ocean mode, as the ocean. So you can ask this friend, who came down to your level to explain more about that and how you can go about in your character using your viewpoint of the drop to become ocean, just like your friend or just like your master. So it is very good. Like you can do first check inside as you can recite the holy names. And the second check, you check with your master. And the triple check, you can check with your friends, your perfect living friends that you have. Then you can awaken fully to the reality of your true self and don't have to stay in the illusion, because I feel a lot of people, when they follow spiritual path, they also want to create their own comfort zone as well. So they tend to make the spiritual path to become religion, to become custom, to become ritual. We tend to do all that. But our master say that, you don't need to feel comfortable on the spiritual path, because when you start to feel comfortable, it means you stop learning. You stop learning about the truth. You stop realizing about the truth. Because actually, to know the truth is very uncomfortable. But then you can seek comfort by having the company of true friends. As I say, perfect living friends is very important.
Yeah, and there's always this thing about you know we always want to be at the feet of the master, and we always want to follow him wherever he goes, right? But from a practical sense, I think Ishwaji used to say, right, that on a worldly level, it's very difficult for us to be together, because I stay in the United States and you guys stay on the other end of the world. But inside, we are always together. If you want to find me inside, because I'll always be there, closer to you than you ever think I am. But on the outside, the physical master also operates on a human dimension, which is bounded by time and space. So he can be having his night in United States, you can be having your morning in Asia, but that doesn't mean you guys are separated by this time and space, because time and space on this physical plane is still a law that we have to obey. But inside, you are just as close to him as he is close to you. So I think we should not neglect the point that yes, you have to make contact with the physical master, but you are still going to be bounded by time and space and organization laws, that you can never be like more than 2 feet away from the master, or even 2 meters away from the master. But on the inside, no such law exists, and this bond is unbroken, and you will be together forever till you merge, right? If merging is still in your thought process, but that's another topic altogether.
It's very interesting you say that people put masters up on a pedestal. So it's basically like religion, where people worship all these prophets because they maybe have the special ability to heal or to walk on water. So my next question is like, are there any special gifts or abilities or powers that a person can unlock while they are in the ocean mode?
Well, they, perfect living master, they have to obey the law of karmic creation. So therefore, they cannot create miracle openly. But personally, when you are around them, you will notice tiny little things that are miracles. Okay? Just like he bent time and space. For example, when I was with him in London, last time I see him in the year 2019, I think I meet him for around 10 minutes. But in that meeting, I feel that I'm with him like half an hour. And then when I go back home that night, I feel that he continued talking to me in my awareness, in my dream. So I feel the perfect living master, they have the ability to bend time and space and can do many more things. But it's just only when we have complete faith in our master that such miracle can happen from one soul to the other soul through that connection in the great system.
Yeah, I think just to add on that, I think this concept of miracles is over glamorized by people and society. And I think when you say miracles like, healing and stuff, to the mere mortals, to the normal guys, this is something amazing and like, wow, this is like, mind blowing, right? But you can get the same feeling of being mind blown if you watch master illusionists like, your Chris Angel or David Blaine, right? Or David Copperfield. What's so special, right? They fail to realize that the fact that they can ask this question or, have the ability to seek itself is a miracle in itself. They are the living miracles, which they fail to realize all this while. They've been looking at, can master, I don't know, heal this blind person and make him see again. That's to me very trivial. Although sometimes it can go against science, right? Against logic and reason, that somebody can do something. But that is not something that we have to, to regard as something special that a PLM can do. I think if you talk about miracles and out of the world kind of acts, right? There's a lot of people in this world that can do almost that. You can even look at athletes, right? Top tier athletes that are able to perform when normal human beings can't. Normal, I say like 99.999% of humans can't perform at their level. For example, sprinting, Usain Bolt, right? You if you tell me that's not a miracle, I don't want to say it, running at that fast speed, right? He's not even a perfect living master himself. Neither, maybe he's not even a spiritual person, I don't know. But I think it had been over glorified about, miracles equals holy saint, right? I think this thought has to be recalibrated in this modern age, in this day and age. We shouldn't be looking at this triviality of things. I think we should start, like what you mentioned, start focusing on the experiencer, the one that is coming up with all these questions in his head. Like, who am I? That's a miracle question one has to find the answer to.
For example, in Thailand, there is plenty of spiritual practitioners who can perform miracle. They can appear at a lot of many places at the same time. They can manifest a physical object, but that's the trick only on astral level. Whoever reach there can have this control, over their senses, can have control over their mind. So their mind and their senses can do wonder. But then, will you trade your 100 years or 1,000 years just to achieve that? Master always say to us that no, raise above that. That's just only, like one station that you have to cross. It's not even destination. So therefore, we have to focus on destination. There will be multiple stations that you have to drop by, But Master always say to us, make sure don't spend too long time there.
So from what I've understood, the ocean mode only activates when it is for the greater goods of humanity, or to awaken souls to their totality of consciousness. For example, as you said, bending time and space. But I have also heard from Ishwarji that he let his master do all the menial tasks like finding parking lots or managing his own company. So can you use this ocean mode for this small task in your daily life, or does it only need to be only works when you need to serve the greater good?
You already answer the question, within your question. But it's true, you can very well ask Master, to find parking lot. Ask Master to stop this meeting. Ask Master, to to make peace at home, right? Yes, you can. But when you be able to do that, it comes with a price, because you have to totally surrender your ego to master, that you're not the doer at all, right? Then at that time, master will come in, you know, and then operate your life, your character in the ocean mode. It can only happen when somebody totally surrender to master will, and also operate in the selfless service for humanity, for the whole universe, for the whole creation. So that can happen through that sincere connection. But you know, like, I see a lot of people saying that, oh, I don't have any more ego, I already surrender to master. The problem is not in the surrendering. The problem is in surrenderer, because they still recognize themselves as surrenderer. That's why it's not working. They still have ego in them that they are the one who surrender to master will. From what I observe, the one who truly surrender to master will or to God will, they never say this. It just happened to them naturally, because they're so in love. Love is the factor that we can lose ourselves in true love. In true unconditional love, we lose our own will, and we willing to obey the will of our beloved at all time without any question. So if master say to the one who truly surrender, okay, meditate for me to the rest of your lifetime, meditate for me for the next 40 years, that one will say yes, yes master, whatever you want, and without any question will continue to do that for the next 40 years or the whole life. But for the one, you know, that I see that they call themselves surrenderer, when master asks them to do anything, they will question, why master, why you ask me to do meditation for you? We don't need meditation. I need your love. I don't need to meditate. So, like I said, it's always the problem is in surrenderer, not surrendering. You know?
Yeah, and sometimes this word has always come, like I've heard this many times, like, oh, master is going to like do my job for me, master is going to take care of my family for me, and then the next subsequent process that this person or individual goes through is he just sits still. So it's like, oh, okay, master, take over. So FYI, master is not just going to appear in your family and then start doing stuff for you. That would be weird, right? That would be like, oh, why is this person, like, why is there another person in my family member who's not part of my family, but is my master doing things? No, I think the misconception is you think that you do nothing, but you are actually hands and legs. Like what you mentioned, the surrenderer is key, right? Because guess what? The master is going to do his work through you, using your hands, using your legs. You are still going to go through the karma that you surrender to master, but you will be the one feeling the pain. You will be the one suffering. But then this is master doing his work through you. Now, especially in the subject of pain, right? Most people will say, take away my pain, you know. But then you surrender to master, and if master gives you that pain and you ask him to take away, it doesn't work that way. In fact, I think from personal experience, again, in order for you to actually go through this smoothly, right, you just have to say at the back of your head that whatever pain that I'm suffering is maybe only 10% of what was supposed to happen. So let's say if you have a stomach ache, right? man, it could be like, you would like have your stomach like burst out and go into the emergency room in the hospital, right? That could probably be the real karma that you're supposed to suffer. But then you just had like some mild diarrhea, and then meet it, greet it, and beat it. So master is going to beat it, but through you. So a lot of things that, with that being said, right, a lot of things that we go through, our all problems in life, once we surrender, we feel that we are able to overcome any problems that master or the DVD or the karmic character has to go through at ease. Or you might even not even feel that you are going through this karma, because you have ultimately surrendered to master. Yes, you will still feel pain, you will still go through emotional anguish, mental challenges, but at the end of the day, you know that master is doing this, and you don't really feel it. It just like go past you very fast, right? But most of us, we don't want to fully surrender. We say it in our words, right? Okay, master, I surrender for you, but let me take 50% and you take 50%. Doesn't work that way. It's always all or nothing. And master will say, okay, now you have given me everything, let me do it. But I'm still going to use your body. Guess what? I'm not going to use my body. I'm still going to use your body, because this is yours, But you just have to go through it gracefully, So I think that's one of the misconception.
Yes. And you talk about master taking away the pain or suffering. What about wealth? I found a lot of people come and ask master for wealth as well. In that case, what is your view on this?
Well, I think because wealth is how the world revolves, right? So a lot of people would say money gives me happiness, right? Money gives me joy. Money makes things easy. So I have more money, I can stop doing my work, and I can go to master satsang every day or live beside master every day, right? But we also fail to realize that wealth can be the main reason why we get trapped. It's the easiest reason why we get trapped, right? Because with wealth comes power, power comes pride. Then you go through the whole karma again, be it initiate or non-initiate, right? So wealth is actually kind of dangerous, money is kind of dangerous. So I think for wealth, a lot of us would say, oh, if my master is perfect, he would give me everything in this world and I'll enjoy it as a king. But why didn't master make me a king, right? Well, if you are a king, he knows you better, then you will get trapped. Then you have to be reborn maybe 10 lifetimes, just because you are a king. So I think in terms of wealth, it has to be very carefully given to you. Because if you do not use this wealth that he gives you for the seva or for the mission it means in the mission of spirituality, then you will misuse this grace that you given to you, and you get yourself even more trapped. It's a double-edged sword, right? So I think for wealth, we have to tread carefully. If master don't give you wealth, it means that it's for your own good, it's for your benefit, because everything is rigged in your favor. Master is not going to give you something that will slow your spiritual progress. It's always in your favor, right? So some of us are born with wealth, which is what we got, previously based on our karma, and some of us are born without wealth, which also means that it's a good thing for us for this life, for us to progress. So it has to be treaded carefully, I feel.
So let's say if master give you $10 million tomorrow, you have to ask yourself, right? Will you still be the same person?
Yes, I promised.
So that's always the case. If you don't have something and given to you, you say, oh yes, I'll promise to be a good boy and not spend this money and be trapped in creation. But here's the thing, which I think I asked you before. Like, let's say for a king, right? Who's rich. So you have richness in one hand, and you lack of spirituality. But when you meet a perfect living master as a king, right? He gives you that spirituality. He gives you that love and grace. So what becomes of your wealth, right? Versus the fact of a poor man who has zero wealth in the world, no attachment, very little attachment, and meets a perfect living master, given that love, right? Is the beggar at a advantage versus the king, or what? Right? So I always have this comparison, right? Because we cannot be biased in this spiritual path, meaning that only beggars get enlightened, the kings and the rich people are not, right? That itself is a bias. So I feel it's a side of a two coin, right? So let's say if you are a king, like Buddha himself was a prince, right? The challenge for you is whether you can, in the name of spirituality and grace, remove all this wealth and disown all this wealth for enlightenment, right? Versus the other guy who has nothing but just love and devotion for the master, and with he has nothing, therefore he can progress faster. But with wealth given to him, will he be that same person, or will he become a new king, right? So I think but I think we discussed this before, and also the answer was somewhat like, if we have a firm foundation in spirituality, then I think it's a good start for anything that's thrown to us, be it wealth, popularity, or fame. I think if the foundation in spirituality is strong, then I think it's easier to maneuver. I don't know, what's your opinion?
Well, I saw in a lot of people that come to ask master for wealth, but I always feel that there's a big price to pay. If master gonna give wealth to anyone, master have to really taste that one, that one is truly selfless in the service for the Lord, So if you want to go and ask master for wealth, to be rich, to be well, to be comfortable in life, be prepared for the price. Because the price will be, master will actually take things that you have away. Everything. You cannot name your house as your own. You cannot name your bank account as your own. You cannot have anything on your own, even a cloth on yourself, or your physical body your own. If you can even do that at every level and recognize this, that you're ready to give away anything that you have for this spiritual mission, for the purpose of awakening souls, then master will give wealth to such one. But I see a lot of people just want to ask for wealth or richness on top of what they have. They're not prepared to lose, they're prepared to gain more, because they feel, okay, if God is in front of me, I want to ask God to have more, to have financial security more. But no, with perfect living master, when you go and ask them, be prepared, because if they agree to give your wealth that you ask, prepare to lose everything, because everything will be in the expense for your master. So this is what people not actually realize. They come and ask master very lightly about everything, because they wish to gain more, not to lose. The spiritual part, if it's true part, you practice to lose your ego, lose your own identity, lose whatever you own. lose whatever yours to become everything, to become masters. Everything of mine already belong to master. And if you ever, like Ishwapuri always say about story of King Jana and Ashtabaka, right? Ashtabaka asked King Janak, right? If you want ultimate truth here and now, you have to give me your wealth, give me your mind, give me your body. So this is the classic Indian story about wealth, about you have to lose everything in order to gain this truth. Actually, in order, like we discussed about the ocean mode, right? The ocean awareness. You have to practice until you lose everything. Then you can become ocean. You can become the vehicle of enlightened one.
Yeah, but here's something to think about. So let's say if a person lost everything, right? And then at that state where you have nothing, you are basically at the mercy of the master, and the master is literally controlling every step of your life because you have nothing to depend on except just master's guidance, right? Then wouldn't you agree that if a person is given wealth, or slowly wealth comes to this person would totally have a different mindset of what wealth is all about, right? So I'm then taking the other side, like coming from a worldly person, right? This person would not have the capability to do money management, for example, and to preserve this wealth or prolong this wealth from a worldly sense of point of view. Because if you are truly spiritual, everything belongs to master. Imagine this, let's say like you are a millionaire tomorrow, right? And then you help everybody on the street, and everybody that you see on the street you give like $1, and you meet 1,000,000 person on the street. There goes your $1,000,000, and there goes the wealth, right? Not discounting the fact that maybe master might top up that wealth coming, but let's say master doesn't top up the wealth, and up comes $1,000,000 and say, okay, for all the surrender that you have done, this is $1,000,000 for you. Now at that point, wouldn't you agree that a bit of money management, and I wouldn't say greed, but operating from a world perspective, that okay, now I have this, how do I make $1,000,000 become 10 million? And then how do I make 10 million? How do I reinvest this wealth that master has given me to duplicate or triple or quadruple this amount yearly? And then you start going and think like how a financial person would do, right? But this is after you have surrendered almost everything, and you literally become like, I wouldn't say a walking zombie, but really like a person living God's will.
Yeah, like
right?
not you anymore.
Yeah, it's not you. Practically, it's not yourself anymore. It's
Yeah.
not the analytical guy who counts like was it Taluk Chan who counts every penny, and he gives like, oh, I give 35,000 to this master already. You will not become that guy anymore. You will become a guy that's okay. You're suffering right now. Yeah, here's $500,000 for you. Go and build an ashram. Then you wouldn't operate in prudence mode. I'm just throwing the other aspect of how a human might change, right? And it's kind of like a fine line to walk. You need to be literally very, I wouldn't say strong-minded, but you need to really know who's your I wouldn't say who's your master, but where you operate from. Are you operating on the ocean point of view, or are you operating on karmic point of view? So yeah, it might be quite tricky.
Okay, going back to the ocean mode, um, how can someone who's just starting on this spiritual path be in tune to the ocean mode? Does it take practice? Do you need to be in a certain vibration, or follow precepts, or living on a plant-based diet? Or like you said, do you need to lose everything?
Well, you can do it slowly. Yeah, like you said, in the beginning, Master give us precept, right? That we have to follow. You shall not drink. You shall not kill. You shall not doing like misconduct. Blah blah blah, right? And you should be vegetarian or vegan. Yeah, because it's also necessary to purify your physical body, your senses, and your mind in order to be in tune to the higher power, or it's easier for you to come into different stage of enlightenment. Yeah, but it's also that's also still not a shortcut. The shortcut for me from my experience is that the relationship that you built with the human master as a friend, that one can pull you very quickly to the ocean mode, or the awareness of the totality of consciousness. Because human, we are mammal, right? We tend to follow example. We tend to have a good example that we're looking for, and we follow the footstep of that example. So if you look as the master, at the master, and connect with the master, that is operate in the ocean mode, or having awareness of every level at the same time. At that time, if you can connect fully in that relationship, create unbreakable bond of love, at that time you can be instantly pulled to have the awareness of every level at the same time. This is the shortcut. But Master always give us the wrong road, right? Like, okay, are you vegan or vegetarian? Check, right? Are you a good person? You have to stop drinking or smoking. You have to obey the karmic law, you know. So then Master will say, okay, do meditation 2.5 hours a day, so you can raise your vibration and awareness inside. But truly, if you can connect with Master as your friend, inside and outside at the same time, and you can be in that state at all time, at that time you most likely operate in the ocean mode, or having awareness of every level at the same time. It's very easy, when I say this, but in practice, the big obstacle is your ego. Your ego self will say like, oh, be careful who you trust. Be careful who you give your heart away. You barely know that human. How come you give all of your heart, your mind, and your soul to such one? Your friend will pull you away. Your family will pull you away. Your wife, your children will pull you away, saying that, oh, be careful who you follow, right? That's why we have to do a lot of validation. Our mind have to do a lot of validation until the mind cannot explain anymore what is happening. Like you said, there's a factor of miracle. Small miracle or coincidences happen so much around us when we have relationship with our perfect living master. That's the indication that you can ignore your mind, put your mind aside, and start trusting or having a living faith with your master. So, okay, the secret is in relationship and having complete faith in your master. So that is the quickest way that you can open up to the awareness of totality of consciousness, also called ocean mode.
And just a disclaimer, nobody says I'm talking from ocean mode. Like right now, I'm talking from ocean mode and it will last for 1 minute. Nobody does that. As in,
They should do that to make it much more clearer.
no, no, I feel nobody does that. And you will not know whether you're speaking from ocean mode. I mean, yourself, you would not know whether you're speaking from ocean mode or drop mode because it has been interlaced. The only way for you to know whether you're ocean or drop is when somebody tells you that they feel something when you talk. Case in point, when you look at Ishwaji, you know when he's in ocean mode or when he is in drop mode, right? You look at Babaji, same. Or all the masters that you encounter, same. They have this side of them which is purely human and operates with the sense of humor, you know, and they just connect to you from a human level, and then they can just the next second be very authoritative and speak something so profoundly, like, you know, from very high level, and you realize, man, this is like a march that I'm hearing, right? And sometimes I feel that right, this is from experience, right? Like I do have this intermittent kind of feel where I'm like talking to somebody, right? And then I realize I'm saying something new which my mind can't possibly for I have no memory or recollection or anything of those nature that came out of my mouth, but it just comes out, which is weird. But then again, I know it's not me that's talking. So this is like just, but it just happens like, you know, maybe once or twice. But this is just some glimpses that I feel that, wow, okay, this is weird. I'm actually talking and learning something myself, which is interesting and weird. But nobody can say that, okay, yeah, I'm ocean mode, I'm here, ocean, representing the ocean.
Yeah.
Whatever I say henceforth is March and you guys should obey. Nobody does this.
So
I mean,
it's like the opposite of a possession by the devil. Instead of being possessed by the devil, the ocean mode, the totality of consciousness somehow goes into you, but you're still aware.
No.
of everything.
I don't think it works in that possession manner. I think it's the other way around, where you suddenly lose grip of your illusion and then you're back to your normal self. But then you like, oh no, I need to be human. I need to be this character again. So I like straight away become the drop. Whereas from a possession point of view, right, it's you trying to be something else, or something else is trying to be you. But this is you trying to be your true self. Then you go back and be your illusion self again, and then you'll be like, okay, you know what? Now I'm talking from ego perspective. It's I, me, myself, and I. Yeah.
Yeah, you will never know, you know. On this point, when the ocean mode operate in you, you will never know. But your friend will tell you. Your wife, your family, people who are close to you, your friends will tell you that you have transformed. It seems that you have something special at that moment. Why? Right? So it's not all the time that perfect living master actually operate in the ocean mode to show people. Only when they speak of the truth, so the truth come in them and speak out, right? But when they have to go through their karmic self, sometimes they not fully operate in the ocean mode, but the awareness, they have awareness of it. But at that time, they just have to put on the costume. Let's say to be the father, to be a son, to be a husband to someone. So they still have to play the part. So at that time, they have to put on costume of their illusion self in order to operate and have human experience just like us too. But the awareness, it means they're not totally shut off from the awareness of totality of consciousness. They're not. But they just operate less. But when they come on the stage to giving the speech of the truth, also called satsang, right? Or spiritual discourse, you will see that they have that awareness fully while they speak. Because whatever they speak is fully from their direct experience and carry authority of the Lord or God at that time. So that's why, it's really good that we brought discussion about how perfect living master as a human operate on this planet. So we can understand them better, how they operate here, why we call them perfect, but they're not perfect.
Yeah. And also to bring back the point of the miracles, perfect living masters don't come here to perform miracles or to change the world. Like, oh, I don't like blue skies, now let's make pink skies. Pink, it becomes pink. No. They are in the business of saving souls. They are like, whoever that is marked or on my list, I will bring them home, and I will work very incognito in this matrix of chaos and karma, and I will just glide my way and make these souls appear before me. That's the main goal of a perfect living master on this spiritual path. They're not here to disrupt the balance of karma, right? Because once they disrupt the balance of karma, it also disrupts their mission of getting these souls forward. So they have to appear as inconspicuous, incognito characters, and nobody will know that they are PLMs. No one will know, but the marked ones will. And that's just the game. I mean, out of 7 billion people on Earth, how many people actually know Ishwarji? It's less than, even 1% of the world's population. Right? Yeah. So
when the masters say that they can bring everyone to Sachkhand, like in 1 second, what does that mean? Is that some kind of a miracle?
No, because if you are the creator of creation, right, that is natural to you that you can do this because you created everything, right?
So how much time it takes to be you right now? Okay, so right, it's easy because they just all, they just point out to you, hey, this is your true self. Okay, just wake up, this is your true self, you already have this. And master only poke you or make you wake up from this dream, this illusion. That's it. That's why it takes 1 second. It's like, okay, how much time for me to know that I am me, right? For you to know that you are you. How much time it take? It's almost take no time, right?
It feels quite underwhelming, this whole spiritual path.
It is. I mean, it's that simple, right? You don't have to climb mountains, go on a pilgrimage, travel the 7 seas, only to realize that you have not gone anywhere closer. You have gone actually further away from the truth. The truth is actually right in front of you. Almost, yeah.
Knowing this truth, what's next?
Aha, that's the question that everyone should be asking themselves. What's next? Nay, maybe you can.
Another 2 hours of this podcast.
I share to you, I have one dream that I lining up to see Ishwarji in my dream. And in this dream, everybody have the same question. They ask Ishwarji, "Oh, Master, what is my seva? What is my service for humanity?" Then Master will say, "Okay, for you, you do IT. For you, you do admin. Oh, for you, you do gardening. For you, you do cooking." Right? And I wonder, okay, when it's my turn, what Master gonna say? And when I approached him and asked him the same question, he stared at me and he said, "No seva, no service for you. Live your life in service." So that's what he means. The next step, when you know that you are you as the creator of this whole universe, okay, you are you as God, then you should live your life in service for unawakened one. So there will be more awakened to this truth, just like you. What do? You just become example. Whoever you are, whatever you do, become the best example. For example, if you work in IT now, right? Before this, you used to be an enlightened IT guy. And if you come to know the truth, the full truth, then you become enlightened IT guy, right? You start to pull more soul using your skill that you already have, right? Be the best tool, like Takin say, hand and legs of the master to help.
That's it for today's episode. If you'd like to listen to more content like this one, please follow and like our channel. Links can be found in the description. See you next time, and thank you for listening.